This is Partners in Crime with Adam Croft and Robert Daws.
Oh, it's windy again.
It certainly is, but there we are.
It only ever picks up when we get the mics out. I've been sitting here all morning and it hasn't been windy. And the second we put some mics on, the wind kicks in.
Or are you suggesting that the moment I walk round the garage corner into your back garden, the wind
Gets up.
creeps up to hurricane force? It's not quite that. Now, your gazebo is looking pretty solid from where I'm sitting. But anyway, hello.
Hello.
You've had a lovely week by all
I
accounts.
have had an extraordinarily busy week. As a result, we're actually recording this a couple of days early because I don't actually know where I'm going to be in the coming week.
Welcome to my world.
We're recording this on Sunday.
Would you
this
believe?
week rather than later in the week. We normally do it sort of Tuesday, Wednesday, don't we? But we're recording the previous Sunday. So any news that is obviously missed this week, that is why.
Well, I think it's quite exciting. You know,
It is.
You can't pin us down to any given schedule,
No.
as some of our listeners will already know. But yes, here we are, Sunday afternoon. It's very pleasant in an English country garden.
Yes. So episode 114.
Is it really?
On now, yeah.
Good.
As yet untitled, as they all are, because we, you might have noticed, well, we don't, Moriarty does, picks an episode title based on some funny, humorous or random selection of words that we happen to come out with during the show.
Yes, and very good Moriarty is too. I mean, I don't want to make him blush, but I think he's done splendid work on this podcast, and is an integral part of the whole thing.
He's not having a pay rise, though.
Okay. Well, he's already given me that $5. Do I have to give it back to him now?
I think you do, yeah. Yeah. If you're watching on video through the Partners in Crime Patreon page, you may have noticed the set dressing this week is a little... What should I call it? Big-headed of me.
It's a cross between. It looks like an explosion in a Ryman shop, really.
That's pretty much what's happened this week.
Yeah. So it is. You've got rid of your garden tools and you've replaced them with envelopes.
Yeah, we have 30 copies of my new book, What Lies Beneath, which are the only 30 copies in existence. They literally rolled off the printers Friday afternoon.
These did?
These rolled off the printers Friday afternoon as part of the 5th print run of that book, which was only out 5 days ago.
That's one print run a day, virtually.
Yeah, I mean, 2 of them were prior to launch, but we've had 3 since. There are more arriving in Rutland tomorrow because we had the print run done Friday afternoon. By Saturday morning, they were basically all accounted for, other than these 30, which are the last remaining ones, which are going out directly to readers because, and we'll get through to this in good time, I'm sure, should we call it a balls up?
Yes, a glitch in a certain multi-billion-dollar organisation's matrix.
Yes, by a large online retailer that has a similar name to a river and rhymes with Shamazon. But to cover how the book's done, I mean, we had an idea it was going quite well anyway. It's, for those of you who aren't aware, it's set up in Rutland, which is a county, the smallest county in England and Wales, I think, or at least in the UK, maybe.
Well, you say that, and you've been nattering on about Rutland for weeks now, and I actually had to find a map of it, which I've actually got it here.
Well, there's one in the front of the book.
Oh, is it? I didn't realise that. Well,
yeah.
here we are, caught between Stamford. Melton Mowbray is to the northwest, the famous home of English pork pies, some of the finest, well, probably the finest in the world, though. I'm sure there's some artisan makers of that particular pastry delight that would disagree. To south is Corby, and Peterborough is to the east. I don't know what's in the north, but there we are.
Nottingham.
And it is tiny, and right in the middle of it, there's Oakham, Uppingham, Stamford, and in Oakham there is your reservoir. I can see it very plainly on my map, and I know it's a reservoir because it's coloured blue.
Yes,
I'm agreeing.
Yes,
I was a scout.
Well, it's about an hour and a bit for me to drive there. We went up there on Monday for the launch on Tuesday, came back Wednesday, and Friday I was back up there again, and back home yesterday. I'm back there again tomorrow. because we've got more coming in. And of course, I daftly agreed that for the first however long it took, I would sign copies of the books. All the shops up there in Rutland, and there are, I think, a couple of dozen now in the county that are selling the book. They're all signed. So,
well, I mean,
making that promise has actually broken my back.
I mean, well, exactly. But you're concentrating on the more negative thing, because underneath all this, how hard it's been, and it has been, and taxing, and not only that, logistically challenging, and you've had to pull all sorts of magical things out of the box to actually get books to the readers of Rutland and far beyond. This is a huge success, Adam Croft.
Yeah.
And, if you're going to plug something, you might as well plug it with great aplomb.
Well, I'm going to.
I'm helping you with the... I'm doing the plom. And you can do the but, I mean, that's fantastic. But
my wife put together some statistics, actually, because she kind of helps run my office. We've both been working massively long days. She was still till 10 o'clock last night at the computer, and she jotted down a few notes. We've now, compared to the initial stock orders that the shops placed,
yes,
we're now 5 days post-launch. We've sold 10 times what that initial total stock order was, hence the emergency print runs. In the county, numerous shops were restocked on launch day. Some of them were actually restocked 2 or 3 times in one day.
And who was doing the restocking?
Well, funnily enough, so that we could get them to them quicker, my family, my parents, myself and my wife.
It's a family business.
So that we could get them there quicker. I mean, you could say to them, well, look, go through the official distributors. They'll be with you within a week. I'll then have to go up and sign them, and they would be delayed. People would be without books. So I did it this way. I got a stock of books myself direct, took them in there to make sure they had enough stock, and that they were covered, essentially. We've been restocking every day since. And there was a bit of an issue with Amazon on launch day.
They do tell.
They've been taking pre-orders for a couple of months, quite happily, for the book, and saying, this will be delivered on the 28th of July. Come the 28th of July, launch day, readers started reporting they were getting emails from Amazon saying, your order's been delayed and won't be with you until mid-August up to mid-September. This is at the end of July. So we're thinking, okay, I mean, the wording of it, your order has been delayed, it sounds as if it's shifting the buck somewhat. Passing the buck, shifting the blame, to mix my metaphors. We worked out what actually happened. It took some digging, because Amazon wouldn't speak to us, wouldn't tell us what was going on, wouldn't give us an explanation, an apology, nothing. We found out through the distributors what they'd done is any books which were ordered in the UK and pre-ordered, with really good notice, month, 2 months, rather than fulfilling them, printing them, distributing them from the UK facility, they tried doing from a US facility.
What?
And of course, the US Postal Service is melted over there. Things are taking weeks to get in and out at best. They decided, say for example, you live here, you live about half an hour away from Milton Keynes. If you'd ordered a book from your house, it wouldn't be printed in the UK facility, which is in Milton Keynes. It'd be printed in the States.
What?
And then shipped over to the UK.
So instead of getting it the next day, or even on the same day as you can order, which is one of the big positives, I guess, of Amazon. How long do you have to wait?
Well, up until mid-September, mid-August to mid-September, they were saying was the estimated delivery time.
This is a strange way to conduct a business.
Yeah.
And what is their explanation for this?
Oh, we haven't had one. We found out through the distributors that's what they did. We've had no apology, no explanation whatsoever. They haven't actually told us. We've only found out through other people what they did. We still don't know why. The best we've heard, somebody in the chain had an email from Amazon which contained words, and I'm paraphrasing here, I think it was something like, we accept we don't always take the best decisions, which is as close as you're going to get to an apology out of Amazon. But we decided, we heard about this, I think it was about 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon on launch day. We'd noticed that something had been going on. It wasn't until the evening, and lots of people, and a massive shout out to Ingram, who print and distribute the books.
Yeah.
They've been absolutely phenomenal.
Yes, well,
and
they are.
extraordinary in sorting this out. They had people staying up, and this is on a Tuesday night, people staying, working well beyond their working hours into the evening, all over the world, UK, US, trying to work out what was going on. We found out late in the evening what the problem was, and the fact that they had routed them through the States for some unknown reason. By 7:30 the next morning, Wednesday morning, we had an online shop up and running on my website, so that readers could hopefully get hold of the books quicker, and to give them an option, because we can get the books within a couple of days from the facility near us here in Milton Keynes. So we said, well, okay, what we're going to do, make sure readers can get them as quickly as possible, without spending any more money, and get a little bit more than they would have done to make up for being let down by Amazon, because Amazon weren't going to apologise to them, so we had to do something on their behalf. So we decided we would ship the books directly to any readers who wanted to cancel their Amazon
Hence
order.
all these
Hence all these
envelopes.
So yeah, hundreds have gone out so far to readers who have cancelled Amazon orders and wanted
And you're
to order
covering
direct.
that post yourself?
Yeah, we said it'll be the same price as Amazon. We will cover the postage, so you don't have to pay for that, and they will all be signed, which none of them are on Amazon either. So we've been sending out hundreds. These are the last batch due to go out, which we've from orders that have come in over the weekend. As we say, we're on Sunday afternoon now, so no post offices open till tomorrow, but these will all be going out. We understand Amazon are now starting to deliver the pre-ordered ones. They're still telling people who want to order a new one now it will take a month or two. But
I've never ever
No.
seen that on ordering a book.
No, but the response has been phenomenal.
I mean, the fact is, Amazon is so sensitive to any slight change in algorithm or what have you. So the very fact that a book is being published, well, certainly one that's been set up as professionally as you set your books up, so it's out there on pre-order, and as soon as it's available, they say they can't supply a copy. I'm just getting this right in my head. For a month, that is announced.
Yeah.
Now that is just
having had weeks of knowing how many pre-orders they had, and to get them printed and get them ready and shipped out.
Well, thank God for Ingram, because
Well, yeah.
Ingram Sparks, are quite superb. But the quality of their printing is also, I think, brilliant as well. But that's a rather, if it's happening to you, how many other people, writers out there, is this happening to? And also, you've been able to deal with this because, of course, it's been in a small area. Rutland isn't a particularly large area.
No,
if this
I mean-
was a countrywide problem, you couldn't cope with it at all, could
Well,
you?
it is a countrywide problem, and this is the thing. We pulled an all-nighter to get that online shop set up, purely for people who don't live in Rutland, because people who live in Rutland can get the book easily from a shop.
Yeah.
Like I said, there are a couple of dozen shops in all the towns and villages in Rutland where you can buy the book. That's not a problem. So it was for people who live in Scotland, in Cornwall, a couple of people overseas as well. But we had people in my readers group, the Adam Croft readers group on Facebook, who were rallying around and saying that I live in Rutland, I live nearby. If anybody is being let down by Amazon, let me know. I'll go and buy a shop from a copy from a local shop and post it out to you. People are rallying around to help each other because of being completely let down by Amazon.
But following this through to the full dystopian fantasy here, what happens if you wake up tomorrow? It was another dawn. Croft saw the sun shining through a gap in his window. He looked at the net curtains, which were out of fashion 30 years ago, pulled them aside, and looked outside and braced himself for the day ahead. And you find that all your books, all of a sudden, don't say it's not going to happen, you never know, all say not available in print for a month. Now, it could happen, I guess. If it's happened once with one book, I suppose so what you need to find out, really, from Amazon is whether this is a policy, a new policy of getting printing done in the States. The difficulty with that is, if the copies are printed in the States, not only do they take longer, but sometimes they won't even send them.
I mean, the fact of the matter is, it doesn't actually matter to me, because I've got very little reliance on Amazon. I've always been very keen to spread my net far and wide in that regard. So it's actually, in terms of the bottom line, it's made no difference whatsoever. In fact, it's still been far more successful than any other book I've had out for a long time, despite the Amazon issue. It's been good in terms of my relationship with my readers, because I've been able to say, actually, look, we're going to put an all-nighter, we're going to get this sorted out, and make sure that you get something above and beyond what you would have got from Amazon because of their mistake. So it's been brilliant from that point of view. It's like I say, for me, a lot of the focus has been on the local shops because it's been a very different launch for me. It's been very locally focused. I've been doing a lot there, and have been people queuing outside the shops to try and get copies. And it's been a bizarre experience walking down High Street, seeing people just walking around clutching copies of it.
Well, I think it's wonderful.
Walking up to me for photos and things like that. That's because my readership is so spread all over the world. I mean, I do occasionally bump into readers, but usually it's by accident.
Apologise, I hope.
Yeah. Usually it's if you start a conversation with somebody and after about half an hour they ask you what you do for a living and you tell them and they go, oh, what's your name? And you tell them your name and they go, oh, yeah, I've read a couple of yours. That happens occasionally. But of course I don't get recognised because people won't know my face, even if they've read my books. It's very, very rare that somebody actually walks up to me and says, are you...
What?
But
excuse me, are you? Yes, I am. I am you. I am you. Well, that's quite interesting. And also this whole thing about it being Rutland-centric, the story being set in Rutland and the support that you've had from Rutland. In fact, I think it's such a good model. I've decided I'm moving genres. I'm going to...
I think it's how moving to Rutland.
No, that sounds very nice. I'm going into erotic literature. And I'm setting my first erotic novel in Rutland. And I'm nicking your title. What Lies Beneath? The new erotic Rutland-based novel by Robert Daws. So there we are, and I'll just follow all your change, all your examples, and I'll be sitting at home with about 3,000 envelopes just like you.
Yeah, send them out yourself.
And do you have to stick a stamp on each one of them? Have you got an actual rubber stamp to actually...
Well, this was part of the... I mean, we could have just said to people, look, send us PayPal and the details. But yeah, the time that it took was setting up, for example, with Royal Mail, you can do a kind of a mail merge thing with website ordering systems. When people's addresses come through, you hit a couple of buttons, it prints off the labels automatically, prepaid postage, slap them on, and they go in the post box.
And you get that from the post office?
Yeah, through the Royal Mail website. So, I mean, it's cost us hundreds of pounds in postage, but it means the readers get the books that they want. And if they've been let down, then we'll sort that out.
But this is essential, really. This is essential to the industry of, certainly to publishing, is we live in an age where there's a great impatience. We see something, we want it now. And it's got easier and easier. And I've even found myself slightly disappointed when I go to order something and they say, that's going to take a week. And I mean, as opposed to, yes, we're going to sort of fly it in by helicopter this afternoon. And it's quickly how it's sort of, one gets spoiled by delivery, but that's well, you're certainly getting on top of that.
Yeah.
I'd expect to see your lawyers Croft logistical challenges up and down the M1.
Well, we still do recommend, if you are in the area, or even if you're not and you do want a paperback, then do go to one of the retailers who are selling What Lies Beneath. If you go to my website, adamcroft.net, and work your way through to the books page, on the page for What Lies Beneath is a full list of the retailers in and around Rutland who are stocking it, and I heartily recommend you go to one of them. Lots of them are posting them out, lots of them are post offices themselves, so they're more than happy to send the book out to you. So please do go there first and support those local businesses, mainly because I'm running out of Jiffy bags.
Well, exactly. Very good advice. And if people don't want to do that, that's fine too.
But we ended up causing a run on the shops with it inadvertently because we had to get another run done so that we could cover the ones that were coming out. We had to send out to people, so we had to use stock to get those out and then replace them with ones going from the printers, which meant the shops then started running short because people who had ordered from Amazon were cancelling their Amazon orders and going to Rutland and ordering it there. So the shops then started running out. So at the same time as we're trying to get these out direct to the readers, we're also trying to get the shops restocked. So it's been something completely new for me because I've been totally used for 10 years to doing things at arm's length.
Yes.
A book comes out and I don't need to leave my house. I don't need to do anything. There might be a handful of signed copies for competition winners or something like that. But, on the scale of involvement I've had directly with this has been just something that I've never done before, but I've really enjoyed it. I'm not going to do it every time, mainly because I've got another book out in about 8 weeks or so, book 2 in this series, which is already looking like it's going to be even more popular. So I might just not get quite so heavily involved in terms of sending books out directly.
Well, I don't believe you, quite frankly. I think that's a total and utter lie. I think you'll get every bit of it involved. In actual fact, you'll be at the stage now where if people aren't in and you can't get it through the letterbox, you'll be putting in little red cards through from Croft saying, "I wasn't able to deliver your book today.
Please come see me at the pub.
I will try to redeliver it as soon as is remotely possible. Thank you very much.
Please come and collect my carry bag in the pub. This is where I'll be."
Well, that's an exciting story. Well, apart from anything else, huge congratulations, because
Thank you.
That's exactly. I mean, it could have so easily, as with so many people, have not got that exciting. But it did. There's nothing like a demand, and there's nothing like it's a brilliant book. So
the demand was great. It's that the lack of supply that was the
well, there we are.
minor issue.
Yes,
there.
a chain is as strong as its weakest link.
Aha, segue. Thank you very much for that one. Because you said a chain is as strong as its weakest link, and there's a very, very strong chain which was announced this week as the Theakston Old Peculiar Crime Novel of the Year, which is this one.
Yes.
Here. Adrian McKinty's The Chain, which sounds a bit like this.
Oh, that's quality. Quality through and through.
Sound book, that, isn't it? Yeah. Which won the Theakston Old Peculiar Crime Novel of the Year. Adrian McKinty, I mean, this story's been told a number of times now, but he is a former Uber driver. His family had been evicted from their home, according to the Hartlepool Mail, which I was reading earlier this week, of course, which meant he put down his pen, stopped writing, and found work as an Uber driver and a bartender. But he was persuaded to give it one last go and started writing The Chain. Your phone rings, it says on the back here. A stranger has kidnapped your child. To free them, you must abduct someone else's child. Your child will be released when your victim's parents kidnap another child. If any of these things don't happen, your child will be killed. There we go.
Bloody hell.
Where do they get their ideas from?
Hartlepool, clearly.
Hartlepool, yes.
God, that's brilliant. Well done. That's a hell of a thing. So congratulations, and a great start to actually win that. Is his first book? Yes, it must be his first book.
I don't think so. I'm not sure. I mean, it's not the first one he wrote. In terms of publication wise, I'm not entirely sure. Don't think so.
Well, anyway, it's very good. Now, I've got a couple of book recommendations.
He's the author of a dozen crime novels.
Oh, right.
And he's won numerous awards as well.
Oh, there we are.
So, yeah. And
now
lives in New York, so not doing too badly.
Good grief. Okay, fair enough. There we go. What do I know? Not a great deal, but that much has been established over the years. Right, I've got two books, and the first one has been recommended to me by a dear friend, and it's set in Romania by Bogdan Teodorescu, and it's called Sword. And I'll read the back because I think it's quite... I'll read the front, actually. I'll tell you a bit about Bogdan. Bogdan Teodorescu trained initially as an engineer, but his passion for words led him to a career change. As a journalist and communications expert, he became a sought-after political analyst and election campaign manager. In 1996 to 97, he was briefly acting head of the Public Information Department, which gave him ample material for the political thrillers he would later write. Aside from his academic publications, Bogdan Teodorescu has written 5 novels, all of them bestsellers in Romania, 2 travel journals and a prize-winning volume of poetry. Sword was translated into French in 2016 to excellent reviews. Le Figaro called it a noir novel with troubling political implications, as dark and as shocking as they come, while Metro described it as the perfect example of what a good novel, noir or any other colour, should be: intelligent, entertaining, asking tough questions. It is about this. A shadowy killer stalks the streets of Bucharest, seeking out victims from among the Roma minority. The police are at a loss to track down the murderer, who always dispatches victims in the same manner, hence the Sword nickname. The media are quick to give it to the killer. As panic starts to take hold and interracial tensions start reaching boiling point, politicians and other influential figures try to manipulate the situations for their own ends. A bestseller in Romania and France, Sword is a tumultuous political thriller by journalist and political analyst Bogdan Teodorescu. echoing much of the fears and tensions of today's political landscape. So that's that book, Sword, which looks absolutely fascinating. I'm going to take that on holiday with me for another read. And that brings me from Bucharest to our friend James Sylvester, who, as you know, has a very strong Slovakian background accent. No. And James Sylvester's novels Escape to Perdition, The Prague Ultimatum, Blood, White and Blue reflect his love for both of Central Europe and the espionage genre, and they've been met with great acclaim. James has also written for the Prague Times, and his work has been featured by Doctor Who worldwide and travel site An Englishman in Slovakia. James lives in Manchester. Hello, James. I know you'll be listening. And his latest book is called Sealed with a Death. Another enthralling story of duplicity and intrigue as the captivating Lucy Mulisova struggles against a brutal conspiracy. That's from our other friend, Hugh Fraser, author of his own gripping Reno Walker thriller series. And this is what Sealed with a Death is about. The vaunted Red Mako, the new symbol of Brexit Britain, is about to launch to a fanfare of political grandeur, but not all are convinced it was worth the price. Barely escaping a botched mission with her life, Lucy Musilova is assigned a low-profile case to regain her superior's trust. All across the country, women have been disappearing, who each have something in common. All are European nationals, and all have been ignored by disinterested media and a politically restrained police force cut to the bones. When a body is discovered and the case grows ever more personal, Lucy finds herself entwined in the seedy worlds of international defence contracts and government-sanctioned prostitution as she fights corruption and far-right violence to uncover the truth. But with her mentor injured and assassins on her tail, Lucy must use all her wits to avoid becoming the final seal in a deal for the country's very soul. Great description there, and typical of James Sylvester's work. So that's Sealed with a Death, which is sort of just out now. So I get that on, you get it from his publisher Urbane, but you could also get it from another platform if you like electronic books.
Like any books that we talk about, for example, that one by James Sylvester, or perhaps the wonderful What Lies Beneath by Adam Croft.
Yes, particularly that. Or do Kobo, do they get through to Rutland? Can they download
it's worldwide.
Worldwide.
Yes. The only issue you might have getting hold of books from Kobo in Rutland is the dreadfully slow rural internet connection. That might be your only issue there.
Okay, but it's worth waiting for.
Oh, it's worth waiting
All
for.
these books are worth waiting
Worth
for.
waiting 3 weeks for it to download. It's actually probably slower than the paperback would be from Amazon. But if you like the sound of any of those books, if you've not bought a book from Kobo before, then head over to kobo.com, and if you use the promo code CRIME at the checkout, they'll give you 90% off of your first purchase. You don't need a Kobo e-reader. They are very, very good, though. I've got a couple, and they are extraordinary. You can download the free app for your mobile phone or
which
tablet.
Is what I've got, which is absolutely brilliant.
And if you've used that code, then you can get 40% off of selected books. Go through the link in our show notes, use the code PARTNERS for 40% off. We are very nearly done. We need to say hello to new patrons this week, of which there is one. Geraldine Evans. This episode is for you.
Geraldine Evans. Hello, Geraldine. Welcome to the show.
We welcome Geraldine as a patron. If you want to help support the show from just a £1 or £2, get your name read out, you get a free book each month, which we'll go into in just a moment, and all sorts of other things. You also get to watch Partners in Crime, and you get to watch it a few days early rather than just listen on the Friday when the episode comes out regularly.
Not that listening isn't a wonderful way to listen, hopefully,
course.
to the podcast. It's not all about vision.
No.
But of course, if you are watching it, we have the occasional car chase or action scene just to sort of play with the medium. So it is well worth watching. And in fact, if you're going to be listening to Arsenic and Old Lace, the next I'll be having a little chat about a new Wallander project which is coming up. So that's
that's the other thing I was going to say. You get to watch Arsenic and Old Lace, which is our after show, which is essentially Partners in Crime plus. We do another 15-20 minutes afterwards, don't we?
Yeah,
sometimes
we certainly do. We just keep on talking until we run out of oxygen, really.
Yes, and one of the things things you do get is the book of the month each month. Now, by the time you listen to this show on the Friday, that will be up there. If you're watching this on the Sunday, it might take a day or two to come through. The new book of the month, which I'm going to announce now, is... from a good friend of ours, friend of the show, and also previous guest host, Rachel Amphlett.
Oh, bravo.
Her brand new Detective K. Hunter book, Turn to Dust, is our book of the month this month, and as a patron of Partners in Crime, you can get that completely free. So keep an eye on your Patreon dashboard this week to find out how to get that, plus all of your other benefits. Head over to patreon.com/Partners in Crime podcast, or check out the link in the show notes.
It's a great series Rachel's written there, and she's came over from the Southern Hemisphere. I think it's about 2 years ago now, isn't it? I would have thought.
Yeah, she was there. She was there a while, but she's back recently. Yeah.
Although established over there, set about establishing herself as a leading crime writer, which she did, and has succeeded in that very quickly indeed. So huge congratulations to Rachel, and her books are absolutely superb. So this book of the month is a real must get.
It is indeed, yes, and you can get it as a Partners in Crime patron. Speaking of which, we're going to go and get Arsenic and Old Laced now in our after show, which will go up shortly after the main episode. And I think, other than that, we're...
You're exhausted, Paul. What you need to do is... I'm going to make sure, if anyone's worried, because he's had a heck of a week, I'm going to make sure after we've recorded Arsenic and Old Lace, he goes in, puts on his slippers, and sits down and has a nice little something, that you like. What's your favourite snifter?
I'm not fussy, to be honest with you.
A pint of beer, probably.
Yeah, that'll do.
But I'll make sure he's absolutely fighting fit for the new challenges, and there'll be many of them this coming week, of Adam Croft's Logistical Corporation Limited. I'll be driving past the M1, and sometimes if you go past M1, you see these massive, great big, one of them's Amazon's actually, and it won't be long before you'll be joining them in their ranks. If you want something got to someone on time, at the right price, with a pleasant smile on your face, good old-fashioned courteous delivery, then Croft's your man. And in the meantime, I think that's got to be about the end of this.
It has, yes,
really.
yes. If you do see me in Rutland this week, do say hello, so I know it's not all been in vain, won't you?
Okay, well, as long as you're not going to make me lick your stamps now.
I wasn't talking to you.
Oh, sorry.
And I've also gone and not had the end of the show lined up, haven't I? But now I have got it lined up. So here it is.
Partners in Crime was presented by Adam Croft and Robert Daws and produced by Adam Croft. The theme tune was by the Caesareans. The Partners in Crime logo and imagery were designed by Stuart Beisch. Partners in Crime is sponsored by Kobo, your favourite local bookshop, perfected.